Baseball on Root Sports is presented by Jack in the Box. It's back. The Portobello Mushroom Buttery Jack. Taste it before it's gone at Jack in the Box. And by Southwest Airlines. Transparency, low fares, nothing to hide. The monsoon-like conditions continue around Houston. We had rain this morning, but everything dry outside Minute Maid Park right now as the train is up there on the usual spot on the tracks. And Dallas Keuchel is about to take his usual spot on the mound. Keuchel will be shooting for win number 4 of the season. And as he takes the hill, trying to follow up on what he did last time out, beating the Angels in Anaheim with 7 innings of 3-hit, 2-run baseball. And as Keuchel takes the field, the Astros have a 5-game winning streak for the first time this season. They've won 8 of their last 9. It's their finale of the 4-game season series with Arizona, and they've won the first 3. Keuchel warming up to face the starting lineup for Chip Hale of the Diamondbacks club with 14 losses in its last 20 games. Leading off with second baseman Gene Segura, with Michael Bourne, the former Astro, in right field. Paul Goldschmidt is the first baseman. The cleanup man is DH Ricky Weeks, with Wellington Castillo the catcher. He hits lefties exceptionally well. Jake Lamb's at third base. Chris Owings in center field. Brandon Drury is in left field, and Nick Ahmed is the shortstop, with Zach Greinke the pitcher today.
And Brownie was talking about him. Dallas Keuchel very good that last start against the Angels. 7 quality innings. That coming off a rough start against Texas in a loss 6 innings and allowing 7 runs. So Dallas trying to go back-to-back himself like the Astros now are doing rather regularly. They have gone from 11 games under 500 to now just 4 under the mark. And Dallas Keuchel can help the club take a big step today.
Well, the Astros got an excellent start from Mike Fiers last night. It went 6 innings, allowing 1 run. They won it in the 11th, 5-4. And now, as Keuchel's corner is all set to go, it's Evan Gattis, the battery mate for Keuchel for the first time this season. As we heard already from Brendan Agans, Gene Segura will lead it off. Keuchel this season at home is 1-2 with a 4.97 ERA. And as you know, he had a 17-game home winning streak until that was snapped earlier this season. Segura ready, and the first pitch to him is strike 1. Ron Culpa is the home plate umpire. Segura starts the day at 306 with 5 homers, 27 runs batted in. He had a hit and was on base 3 times last night. It's 1 ball, 1 strike. In Keuchel's career against Arizona, he's won 3 and lost 2 with a 3.90 ERA. His last 4 starts against Arizona have all been quality starts. It goes to a 2-1 count. Last time out, we talked about that game that you and Blummer did along with Julia out in Anaheim, and he gave up home runs to Trout and Pujols, but then he retired 18 in a row. Foul straight back, 2-2. He really got into a nice groove in that one.
You talk about the 2 home runs, Brownie. They both came back-to-back, as you say, in the first inning. He allowed a leadoff single in the second inning and went from that point to retire the 18 in a row. And overall, I believe it was 24 in a row retired by the entire staff in that game. So excellent pitching.
Late swing and a strikeout of Segura. Keuchel opens with a K, and now he'll move along to face Bourne next.
Now you go out there as we look at the Mattress Firm slow-mo, and a really good one. Dallas Keuchel has a big assignment today, going against Zach Greinke and, of course, the entire club for Arizona. But it's a big win for the team.
Michael Bourne is all set. First pitch to him is in for a strike. And the Houston native and former Astro Bourne was on twice last night. He had an RBI double in the 9th inning comeback when Arizona trailed by 3 and tied it on a 2-run homer by Jake Lamb. It's 1 ball, 1 strike. Left-handed hitters are at .266 against Keuchel this year. Bourne has really made fine catches in the outfield against the Astros. 2 balls and a strike now. Michael's 1 for 12 against Houston. Ground ball, Keuchel, and the Gold Glove winner takes care of out number 2.
What a difference that makes. That ground ball back through the middle that finds center field so many times. Watch the play. And yeah, that ball is going to be really tough for Correa at shortstop to get to. But just an easy out when you utilize that glove on the hill.
Paul Goldschmidt, a star at the Woodlands in high school. A .267 hitter with 10 homers, 33 runs batted in, has hit .365 his last 15 games. Strike one to Goldschmidt. Goldie 1 for 5 last night, but he ripped a line drive caught by Marwin Gonzalez at first base in the 9th inning, a hard hit ball, and then a diving catch was made on him in left field by Jake Marisnick in the 3rd inning last night. 1 ball, 1 strike. Goldschmidt in those last 15 games hitting .365, has driven in 13. Breaking pitch comes in to make it 1-2.
Look at our MD Anderson strike zone as we watch Dallas Keuchel with this big looping breaking ball. He calls it his slider. Sometimes it looks like a slider, sometimes a curveball like that one.
He bounced in. It's 2-2. Keuchel has a 44-41 major league career record with a 3.77 ERA. Carlos Gomez shading a couple of steps toward right center on Goldschmidt. A close one, ball 3. Goldschmidt has walked 49 times this year. He's the National League leader in bases on balls. And he takes another one.
Ooh. Well, that's a good looking pitch, and Dallas seems a bit stunned after not getting a call. And you like the pitches that are just out of the strike zone and not well into the strike zone. You much rather miss that way.
Ricky Weeks will be next. Weeks was 2 for 4 last night. He had singles in the 7th and 9th innings. At .246, he has 2 homers and 7 runs batted in. Altuve shades up the middle on him. Little roller brings out Gaddis, who throws him out. No runs, no hits, and a man left. Now the Astros come up against Zach Greinke. And George Springer will lead it off, to be followed by Jose Altuve and Carlos Correa next. Now the Astros come up with this starting lineup against Zach Greinke. George Springer leads it off in right field, and it's brought to you by Southwest Airlines with Jose Altuve at second base. Carlos Correa plays shortstop. The cleanup man is left fielder Colby Rasmus, with Evan Gaddis batting 5th and catching. It's Luis Valbuena at third base. Carlos Gomez in center field. Marwin Gonzalez at first. Tony Kemp, the DH, batting 9th.
Yeah, let's just watch George Springer dance. Means good times are hanging around the club. On the mound, Zach Greinke. He's done a lot of good things in the major leagues. Terrific stuff. Spots it extremely well. Not a blow away type fastball, but he's winning for the Diamondbacks in his first year now, 6-3.
Springer rolls one to first, backhanded Goldschmidt, and the lead toss to Greinke. 1 pitch, 1 out. Got to be a relief after Springer hit the game winner last night, and George beginning the day on a 5-game hitting streak has really been torrid, so Greinke gets him with that first pitch. He is 4-2 lifetime against Houston with a 3.16 ERA. Here at Minute Maid Park, 3-2 with a 3.19. Jose Altuve sports a 7-game hitting streak. Batting average of .330, 9 homers, 31 runs batted in. And .448 during that 7-game streak for Jose. He's gone 6 for 14 against Arizona. In for a strike at 90 for Greinke. Greinke as a free agent shopped his services around and settled on a 6-year deal with Arizona over the winter for $206 million. 1 ball, 1 strike. Of course, he was the opening day starter and really took his lumps, giving up 3 long balls in that first start as a D-back. That was a 10-5 loss to Colorado. He allowed 7 earned runs in 4 innings in that one. In for a strike. He's had some problems pitching at home this season, but he's had an outstanding career.
Talked about his command, and he just spots it so well. He is very much like Dallas Keuchel at his best.
Fly ball out to left center field, coming for it Owings. 2 down. Now Greinke won the Cy Young Award in '09, and last year he finished second to Jake Arrieta in the Cy Young race. He's won 148 in his career and just had a lot of overpowering games as somebody who works with precision. He's walked only 14 in 71 innings.
Well, you can make some arguments that Zach Greinke deserved the Cy Young Award as well last year. Top ERA in the league and a number of other columns where he led.
Strike 1 to Correa on a 4-game hitting streak. 256, 8 homers, 28 runs batted in. That was his 2nd ERA title in his career at 1.66 for the Dodgers last year. He was 19-3. He walked 40 in 222 innings. It's 0-2 to Correa.
Carlos Correa may wish he had taken an offering at that pitch. That fastball ran right back through the plate. I'm not sure why he's taking so many of these. That's a big mistake from Zach Greinke.
Colby Rasmus on deck. Correa fouling it to stay at 0-2. Greinke trying to get this Arizona club jump started from its 23-32 record. D-backs will be in Chicago playing the mighty Cubs over the weekend. It's 1-2. Greinke was a first-round pick by Kansas City in '02. He was the 8th player drafted. Grew up in Orlando, Florida.
Sounds to me like you've allowed yourself to be impressed by a 36-15 record for the Cubbies, I should say.
Yeah, they're a real juggernaut, right?
That is quite a start to the year.
Well, the Astros will meet the Cubbies in September here. Still 1-2. Last year, Greinke made 32 starts for the Dodgers. In 21 of those 32 starts, he allowed 1 run or no runs.
That is getting it done.
And a strikeout. Ends at 1-2-3 first for Greinke. No score after 1.
We want you to kick off your weekend at Minute Maid Park. Every Friday night home game is followed by the best fireworks show in town. The next Friday night fireworks is tomorrow, and it's Prince tribute themed. For more information, visit astros.com/fireworks or call 1-877-9-ASTROS. I'm guessing we're going to see some purple fireworks tomorrow, guys?
Yeah, we've already been clued on that by Christie last night. In Keuchel's corner, they watched Dallas go out for the second inning, facing Wellington Castillo. And he has really carved out a nice start for himself against left-handed pitching this season. First pitch to him is up for ball one. Castillo with a .265 average has 7 homers, 20 runs batted in. He led all National League catchers last year in long balls with 18. Fouled away. It's 1 ball, 1 strike as Keuchel works to Castillo. He's facing a guy who has 9 extra base hits against lefties. That is tops in the National League. And 5 of his home runs have come against southpaws. Of his 7, that's tied for first in the National League with a .680 slugging percentage against lefties. 2-1. Lefty hitting Chris Herman of Tomball started last night behind the dish for Arizona. Now it's 3 balls and a strike. Keuchel was successful with mixing in a lot of off-speed stuff against the Angels in his last start. That's a ground ball hit to left field. And the first hit of the ball game belongs to the Arizona catcher Castillo.
Time now for the Ford spray chart. Taking a look at Dallas Keuchel's fastball off-speed combination. As you look at the first 10 starts, 54% on the fastball. That brought down the off-speed to 44%. In the in the last start, 44%. He dropped down the fastball usage considerably, and there could be some good reasons as you look at the numbers both ways, last start versus the first 10. If Dallas is spotting that first pitch of his, whether it be fastball or otherwise, it enables him to use the off-speed more. And I think the sharper he is, the more you will see some of the off-speed mixed in.
Jake Lamb taking strike one is on a career high 10-game hitting streak right now. Hit the big 9th inning homer to tie it last night off Luke Gregerson. Lamb is at a 1-1 count with 9 homers. He's driven in 30 runs with a .282 batting average. A very nice start for Jake Lamb. Altuve, Correa, and Gonzalez. Turn 2.
That is nice and crisp. Altuve didn't rush things. Shifted the feet well to throw overhand on to Carlos Correa. Puts it in a perfect spot. And then watch the arm from Correa as he just guns and gets his man. Very nice.
42nd double play for the Astros this year. Chris Owings is the batter. Owings, a .281 hitter, has 2 homers, 17 runs driven in. Ground ball, Correa to his left. Quick throw over to Marlin. It's a 9-pitch second inning for Keuchel. No score.
2nd, and it's time for our Chevy Stroll poll. And today we want to know who your favorite Astros lefty of all time is. Is it Dallas Keuchel, Andy Pettitte, Mike Hampton, or Billy Wagner? Back up to you guys.
All right, that's a choice. Thanks, Brendan. No score. Colby Rasmus to lead it off. Well, the Great White is on the bench, but maybe he'll get in later. There's strike one as Rasmus at 224 has 8 homers, 31 runs batted in against the lefty Robbie Ray. He did not start last night's game. And against Patrick Corbin Tuesday in Arizona. He was on the bench as well. So he's 1 for 5 against Arizona this season. Broken bat fly ball heads for foul ground. So does Goldschmidt. And Segura's over there, but it's out of play for them. 1-2 for Colby, and he'll go back for another bat.
Watching a couple surgeons on the mound today, and of course Dallas Keuchel hasn't been as sharp with the scalpel this year as he was last year, but you watch Zach Greinke and he'll put it on the edges on both sides, spotted around the knees. Ron Kulpa, the home plate umpire, hasn't been overly impressed with pitches just off the edges.
Greinke's walked 522 in 2,100 innings. He is around the plate. 2 balls, 2 strikes. Last year the batting average against Zach was 187. Infield shifts around as usual for Colby. And that's a punch out. That's 2 in a row for Greinke.
Rather a hanger right there. Still out there on the outside edge or possibly off the plate, but for Zach Greinke, that's a hanger. And we take a look and you see how the painting goes on, right on or off the edges. That's the way the guys that are sharp are going to work it.
Off the edge there, ball 1 to Gaddis, who crunched his 6th homer of the year last night for a 3-1 Astros lead. He's driven in 16 with a .233 average. Catching for the 3rd straight game with the illness to Jason Castro. And this one in the air near the left field line, hooking, and it's foul. Well foul for a 1-1 count. Gaddis has been getting fantastic results with his hitting while catching this season. He's 7 for 22 at .318 batting average in his 5 starts at catcher, with 2 doubles, 3 homers, and 6 runs batted in those 5 starts. And the Astros are 4-1. Foul back, 1-2, and Jason Castro sidelined by flu-like symptoms. He was in the clubhouse last night, but not feeling good at all, and that is the case again today. Foul back, still 1-2 with Luis Valbuena on deck. Happy birthday to Bill Worrell today. He worked a lot of Astros baseball games. Rockets naming a new head coach yesterday. Mike D'Antoni. Little tap goes foul, so Bill will be working, of course, closely with Mike and the usual Root Sports crew next year. Be interesting to see what kind of a team they put out there. Valbuena. With last night's win, the Astros also moving up alongside Oakland. Oakland won, and they're both now 6.5 games out of first in the AL West. Both moved ahead of the Angels. Angels falling into last 7 games out. 2-2.
I will respond with D'Antoni now as the head coach. I'm going to say high scoring.
Yeah,
is what the Rockets are going to wind up being.
That's the way it sounds. It was interesting to hear his comments about the 7-second offense that they said he used to have. He said, I never said that. 3-2. He likes to get a shot off quickly if possible, though.
Paul Westhead coming in to assistant coach maybe.
Gaddis grounds to shortstop, slowly hit. Ahmed with the play. 2 outs. Different uniform. The D-backs wore the reddish tops last night. Now they're in all gray. They have a number of different combinations of the uniform. These are the stealth type uniforms that they have featured this year.
Yeah, when the Oregon Ducks travel, they've only got a couple of their dozens of options that they have to take with them. For the Diamondbacks, when they go on a 10-day road trip, I'd hate to see what those guys have to pack.
Now Valbuena with 6 homers, 17 runs batted in, will be stepping up with a .221 batting average. He has come around a lot better in the last month. He was 0 for 4 with a walk last night, taking ball 1 there. In May, Valbuena hit .258. He had 6 homers, drove in 13 runs, drew 11 walks, had an .879 OPS in 25 games in May. He looks at a Greinke pitch, and it's 2-0. And Valbuena has eye-popping numbers against this right-hander. 10 for 23 with a homer and 2 runs batted in. Gomez on deck. And for a strike, 2-1.
That's good late sinking action.
Nicely done. It's a real professional sign.
Yes, it is.
Yeah, Greinke does have late movement. Bunting, and that one will go foul. But he had a wide open situation there for a bunt single, and Valbuena couldn't get it down fair. 2-2.
Don't want to be too fine on that one. When you've got nobody on that side of the field, just get it fair. See, the shortstop position is all they can try to defend with. It's not about putting it right down the line. Just get it on that side.
Strikeout for Greinke gives him 6 up, 6 down through 2, and no score.
Now, inside the box score brought to you by Jack in the Box. Dallas Keuchel, we know about the numbers from last year as he just tore it up, undefeated at Minute Maid Park. But over his career, also great success, 27-15, ERA right above the 3 mark, .238 the opponent's batting average against, and he doesn't typically walk many, so it's just been a great venue for Dallas.
Brandon Drury's in the box, taking the breaking pitch. There's strike 1 to open the 3rd inning of a scoreless game. Drury with 8 homers, 18 runs batted in, has a .287 batting average. Playing left field today. He's also played right. He's played some third base and even second base. Bouncer into right field. Drury with a leadoff single gets it going for Arizona here in the third. D-backs are 5th in runs scored in the National League.
Just a hole finder with that ground ball. See, Dave McKay, the first base coach down there, has been doing this for a long time.
He sure has.
I don't see guys hang around just as a first base coach.
Well, that's a good point. Nick Ahmed, the shortstop, was 0 for 3 in one of the games in Phoenix. 210, 3 homers, 15 runs batted in for him, but 317 the last dozen games. And showing bunt, he takes ball 1 with the first baseman Gonzalez charging and Valbuena moving in at third. Segura's on deck and he's having a good season. Ahmed, a second-round pick by the Braves in 2011, and then was traded to Arizona before the 2013 season in the Justin Upton, Chris Johnson deal. He was thinking about sacrificing there. Not here. Puts it in the air to center field, backing up Gomez. 1 down.
I think you make a good point in a game like this when you've got a matchup of Cy Young Award type pitching. 1 run could absolutely be the difference in a game.
Well, don't you know that these two pitchers know it too when they take the mound in a game like this? Of course, how often are we wrong about pitching matchups? But
never.
Both these guys have done it a few times. Segura opened the game by striking out. That's ball 1 to Segura, who was traded for Zach Greinke. When the Angels had drafted him and or signed him as a free agent in 07, he was with them when he first came to the big leagues in 2012. But in July of that year, they traded him for Greinke to Milwaukee, where he blossomed. 1 ball, 1 strike, and then in another deal, he moved along this January in another trade, bringing him to this Arizona club at age 26 now, where he's being given a chance to play second base and has really gotten off to a fine start. This one gets away from Gaddis, back up off the screen, and Drury advances to second base.
Not sure what happened with Evan Gaddis right here, but he didn't even roll over to try to block this pitch. Just tried to pick it as if he was going to receive it out of the dirt there. When you call the breaking ball, your reaction is go down when that pitch is low in the dirt. And yes, I wondered if there might have been some sort of cross up, because Evan looked like a guy that was looking for the heat.
Wild pitch for Keuchel, his 4th of the season. Advances Drury to second base. This is the first time these two have worked together. Grounded foul. Matt Williams coaching third. 2 balls, 2 strikes. Matt is out of the coaching box, getting that angle with the runner at second base. Drury, he may have an important decision to make. Base runners can be precious in a matchup like this. Mike Brady has a close-up view on that camera. Still 2 balls, 2 strikes. Former Astro Chris Sampson is here today, along with his sons CJ and Colt, having a birthday party for those guys along with their baseball teams. This is the final day of school for a lot of youngsters in the Houston area. Still 2-2. So we expect to see a lot of baseball teams out here in the months to come. Langham Creek and Deer Park have a big playoff matchup scheduled for today, Friday, and Saturday. The 6A Division III Championship Series among the high school matchups. Chopped slowly. Valbuena will make the tag. A heads-up play as he gets the runner Drury coming to third base, because it was a slow developing play. It looked like he couldn't get Segura, but he did get out number 2.
My initial reaction was that's not the right move. But boy, was Valbuena right. And I don't know if out of the corner of his eye he was able to see the runner coming his way, or if he felt like he might have a tougher play at first base. But boy, when you can make that swap, that is ideal.
That's what he did for out number 2 on a 5 unassisted play. Michael Bourne batting now. Leisurely toss over to first. Segura has 6 stolen bases in 10 attempts. Keuchel can be very difficult for the base stealers. He's allowed 2 and 2 tries this year. Last season there were 5 stolen base attempts against Keuchel all year, and all 5 were successful, but he does shut down the running game for most.
Very seldom does he employ anything but the slide step from the stretch, and that slide step says if you're going to run, basically you're going to have to rely on the hitter to make contact. The hit and run is the only viable way to send a runner against Dallas, from first anyway.
When he's on his game as he was last year, each base is precious against Dallas Keuchel. Now the runner goes on the pitch in the dirt and will advance on another wild pitch. Segura into second base on the second wild pitch of the inning.
This time, knowing the breaking ball is coming, Evan Gattis gets down, but he never got there quite early enough, and then had the glove coming up. Ball starts bouncing around that way. You keep that glove down, get there early, and the ball tends to stay close by.
Now 2 balls and a strike.
And that pitch missed, huh?
Check it out.
Yeah, that needs to be more consistently called.
Now 3-1 to Michael Bourne.
What do we think? Can he miss back-to-back pitches? It's possible. And it's done.
Bourne takes a strike. Now 3-2 to Michael. Michael's now 33 years old. Career .266 hitter. Ground ball slowly hit. Altuve to his right. Makes the throw to a stretching Marwin Gonzalez. And that's a 0 in the third on 1 hit with a man left. No score.
Third inning, Academy Sports and Outdoors and the Houston Astros are hitting home runs for Houston. We're looking at home runs that have been hit for the Astros against National League teams since the club moved to the American League. You get it, interleague stuff for the Astros. Chris Carter has hit 10 of them. He's now with the Brewers, of course. Colby Rasmus 9, along with George Springer. With the big game winner last night, Jason Castro and Luis Valbuena on the list with 6. So it's pretty good work being done against the National League clubs.
6 straight Astros have been set down by Zach Greinke. A scoreless game brings Carlos Gomez to the plate. And he fouls at strike one. Gomez at 186 has no homers, 5 runs batted in. Last night he was 1 for 5. He singled and stole a base. Also made an outstanding catch in center field on Michael Bourne in the 3rd inning last night. Greinke's ahead 0-2. Gomez 3 for 20 with a homer against Greinke in their head-to-head matchups. Gomez takes that breaking pitch in the dirt for a 1-ball 2-strike count as he rejoined the club from his Double-A assignment at Corpus Christi. He was thrust right back into the lineup Tuesday, going 1 for 3 with a walk. Marwin Gonzalez will be next. A punch out for Greinke is number 4 of the day.
The Coca-Cola Value Nights package is one of the best ballpark bargains. Available for select Monday to Thursday regular season games. This offer scores you a ticket, hot dog, soda, and popcorn, all for just $18. To purchase tickets, visit Astros.com/Coke Value, or you can call 1-877-9-ASTROS.
Marwin Gonzalez will try to become the first Houston base runner today. 226, 4 homers, 12 runs batted in for Marwin. 286 at home. There's strike 1 to him. Marwin was 1 for 5 last night, starting at first base. This is his 16th start at that position this year. Tony Kemp's on deck. Rolled, and Greinke comes over for it, tossing to first. And like Keuchel, he's won a couple of Gold Gloves. He did not rush that play. 2 outs.
You can really see it on this play. It's about being smooth and slick, like you say, no rushing on the play. Kind of a tough little angle there as Marwin was inside. And if you hinder the pitcher from making that play, they can call interference. We'll just never see interference called, though.
No. 8 straight retired by Greinke. Now Tony Kemp with a .200 batting average, 1 RBI. Got his first career RBI last night with a sac fly. There's a strike. He was a pinch hitter in the 8th inning, and then he grounded out in the 11th last night. Foul ball makes it 0-2 to Tony, the Vanderbilt product. Greinke last year beat Scott Kazmir here in Houston in August 3-1. He's had some outstanding games here, including a 2-1 win in 2009. Strike 3 call. He's retired the first 9, 5 via strikeouts. That's a 9-pitch inning, and it's scoreless.
Astros. Join the Astros at Minute Maid Park on Saturday as they take on the A's. 10,000 fans will receive a Colby Rasmus 2015 postseason celebration bobbleheaded presented by HEB. For more information, visit astros.com or call 1-877-9-ASTROS.
Ground ball by Paul Goldschmidt to third base. He's retired by Luis Valbuena. And on one pitch, Dallas Keuchel gets out number one in the fourth inning. And with Goldschmidt the hitter, that was a great way to get it started for Dallas. He had walked Goldschmidt on a 3-2 count in the first inning. Ricky Weeks will be next. He hit a little tap in front of home plate and was thrown out by the catcher Evan Gattis. 2 hits for the D-backs, both singles. One of those was erased on a double play ball. Correa just moved to his right about 4 steps. And that's strike 1 to Weeks.
Watching Correa move and then watching for the pitch, I was anticipating off speed.
Yeah.
Turned out to be the heater. Usually when an infielder starts moving in that direction on a right-hand hitter, it's off speed.
I have to agree with you. 0-2 as Keuchel snaps off a breaking ball. Now, if he had thrown that pitch, it would have been something we would have expected.
Which is something clearly you're going to say to your defensive players, don't give away pitches or location by, drastic movement on the field.
Maybe it was reverse psychology.
That could be what it was all about.
The third, 1-2.
You're going to watch me and make your move? Okay. Good luck on your afternoon.
We're going to mess with your minds.
An entire football defense shifting around before the play. You got no idea what's coming at you.
Maybe everybody was dazzled by his shoes.
Could be. That is one special uni, isn't it?
Boy, that pitch looked pretty good on the monitor. 2 balls, 2 strikes.
Now, I thought the guys had to wear a uniform shoe as well.
Yeah, that's a good question.
This doesn't really fit. Yeah.
3 balls, 2 strikes to Ricky Weeks.
Maybe if you have over 25 years of major league service, you can wear a different color shoe, huh?
Could be.
Feels like Ricky Weeks has been around that long.
It really does. Struck him out. Keuchel gets a call. That's his second punch out.
Comes right back on the 3-2 and really spots it nicely. In fact, he had room to play with there. Not sure what Ricky Weeks could have felt like was inappropriate about that call.
A little mystifying. 2 outs, and here's Castillo now. Wellington from the Dominican Republic. He came up with the Cubs in 2010. Strike to Castillo.
Changing of speeds is quite nice for Dallas today.
You like that name, Wellington?
It's a good one. It never came up when naming our children.
Haven't run across that for a baseball player. Do you remember anything like that?
No, he needs a third at the end of his name, doesn't he?
Yeah, he does. Bouncer Valbuena. And that's a 1-2-3 fourth for Dallas Keuchel. Quite a battle. That's a 10-pitch inning, no score.
Copyrighted telecast is presented by authority of Houston Astros, LLC, and may not be reproduced or retransmitted in any form. And the accounts and descriptions of this game may not be disseminated without the express written consent of Houston Astros, LLC.
No score. The Diamondbacks have 2 singles off Dallas Keuchel. The Astros are looking for their first base runner against Zach Greinke. We go back to the top of the order again, and George Springer, who swung at the first pitch and grounded out. First baseman to pitcher covering. George, though, has put together quite a surge to get up to 289. He is 8 for 14 in the games with Arizona. 2 homers, 6 runs batted in for George. Taking ball 1 there. His big bowling event is tonight after the game. It starts at 6:30 in the downtown Houston area. It's at the Lucky Strike Bowl, 2nd annual All-Star Bowling benefit for SAY. Stuttering Association for the Young, a summer camp. Last night, Ash.
Got that curveball. I don't know if he was sitting back looking for it, but whatever. He launched it, and what a great moment that turned out to be for the club and for the fans. He has that special talent. Special talent can result in special moments, and that was one.
Foul ball brings the count to 1-2 now for George. According to Baseball Reference, George Springer enters today's game leading all major league position players in wins above replacement, 3.2.
That takes into account the defensive side, and we were talking about some of the rankings and where they have George. To me, just totally out of place.
Out to center field and shallow. Owings coming in for it. Owings cannot get there, and the Astros have their first base runner. George Springer has a 6-game hitting streak.
How tough is it to throw a no-hitter in the major leagues when the oddities, the jam shot, the ball off the end of the bat, the broken bat job can turn into hits? And this was a tough pitch up and in. Hard fastball, tied up George. But he's a hot hitter right now, and sometimes that just means you're going to get your knocks.
Put his bat on the ball. And something good happened for him. He's aboard now for Jose Altuve. He hit a fly ball to center in the first. He fouls it away. There's strike 1. Looked like he was shooting for a spot in right field on that one.
Sure does it beautifully. You could see his body line up toward right field at the end of that swing. Doesn't pull off a bit. I say it numerous times, but he's just a really good hitter.
You're sure about that?
I'm convinced by looking at my computer, the numbers.
Bouncer slowly hit. Ahmed to second, and the relay is wild and goes out of play. So Altuve will wind up at second on the bad throw by Segura. Forced play from 6-4, and then the throwing error on Segura, his second of the year, gets Altuve into scoring position.
Sometimes you're just better hanging on. To get that lead out, it's a good play, but to get Altuve, it's just not going to happen on that kind of a ball. So take advantage of a break.
And that gives Correa this opportunity. Carlos struck out in the first inning. Last night he came through with an RBI single in the 5th, and then he tripled in the 9th with 2 outs, but did not come home. Colby Rasmus is on deck. Greinke eyeing Altuve, and it's fouled away, strike 1. I made a misstatement last inning. Greinke lost a 3-1 game here to the Astros last year, started by Scott Kazmir. He didn't win it. That was when the Dodgers came to Houston in August and they were swept, and that was quite a sweep for the Astros. The Dodgers were rolling, and the Astros beat them in 3 games in a row. 2 of them started by Greinke and Clayton Kershaw back to back.
2 guys that are obviously among the best pitchers in all of baseball, and they were rolling at the time.
Yes, but they know that, as they watch from the press box.
Those guys know it all. And I'll bet you in looking at those computers, they can tell that Jose Altuve is a really good hitter.
The numbers are compelling. Now can he score a run to give the Astros the lead? He did a good job of that last night when he put on that burst between third and home. Scoring that Correa fifth inning single last night, and the throw made it pretty close at home plate. The Astros have scored 33 runs during their 5-game winning streak. Against Greinke, it's just not usually that easy. In the air, and the middle infielders converge behind second. Ahmed with the catch. 2 outs.
Getting a game like this and base runners come at a premium. Better take advantage when you've got a shot.
Rasmus struck out in the second inning. A.J. Hinch hoping Colby can come through here. Left-handed hitters have done a little bit better against Greinke. They're hitting .300 against him compared to right-handed hitters .258 this season. Greinke was thrown out of a game here in July of 2012 for arguing a call at first base. There's a strike. And he wound up losing that game without retiring a batter.
Not easy to spot a curveball like that.
Upstairs, 1-1. You talked about it when you and Blummer and Julia were in Arizona. The fact that the Diamondbacks really wanted to go for it this year. They stepped up for more than $200 million to sign Greinke. They traded for Shelby Miller, hoping that those two guys would be the 1-2 anchors of this starting rotation. Miller's on the disabled list right now after a very bad start. 2 balls and a strike. Greinke did not do well early and has not pitched well at home, but that 6-3 record, despite a 4.71 ERA, indicates that he is quite capable of putting up a big victory total this season if the Diamondbacks give him the proper support.
I think the Diamondbacks, and maybe rightly so, felt like they had a team in place that could win bringing on those guys. A.J. Pollock is a huge loss in center as he is out. Let's take a look now at our Lexus defensive rankings. We take a look at this outfield for the Arizona Diamondbacks. Who can you run on? Maybe Brandon Drury. He's in left field. Chris Owings. Actually, you can run very well on him. Infielder who's out playing the outfield. He's a good athlete and he plays the outfield well. But one of those guys that hits the cutoff man, Michael Bourne, doesn't have the blessing of a great throwing arm, and so you can run on him. So you've got a couple of spots for certain, maybe all 3, that you can take your shot against the Diamondbacks.
Like Bourne was just repositioned in right field a few steps closer to the line. This 2-2 count on Rasmus. Greinke has won each of his last 3 starts, beating the Mets, St. Louis, and San Diego in those games. Now a full count on Colby. Last night the Astros really did a good job of working counts on Robbie Ray, and he was gone after 5 innings, allowing 3 runs, throwing 99 pitches. Greinke's only at 52. And he gets a punch out. That's number 6 for him. No runs, a hit, 1 error, 1 man left, no score. On Root Sports is presented by Southwest Airlines. Transparency, low fares, nothing to hide. And by Academy Sports and Outdoors, donating $100 for each Astros home run and $200 for each Correa home run to Houston Children's Charity.
A little bit odd, Brownie, with two pitchers dealing here through 4 innings. Both pitchers have thrown 53 pitches.
Yeah. Jake Lamb leads it off in a 0-0 game in the 5th inning. Takes a hook. There's strike one. He bounced into a 4-6-3 double play in the 2nd after Castillo had led off with a single. Keuchel gets a swing, and it's 0-2 on Lamb.
This is turning into a very nice sharp outing now for Dallas. He hasn't been quite as sharp as when he's at his very best, but he's getting there.
The breaking pitch makes it 1-2. Keuchel won that 21-5 game at Arizona last October 2nd. Struck him out. That's his 3rd strikeout.
He made life a little tough for Lamb with that one. Although this last pitch, though it's down at the knees, looked like it got a reasonable amount of plate. Yeah, right through the heart area. But well spotted bottom of the knees.
Chris Owings takes strike one. He grounded to short on the first pitch thrown to him in the 2nd inning. Tomorrow night with the Oakland Athletics here at 7:10, it's Doug Fister and Jesse Hahn. Saturday at 3:10 start for Colin McHugh and Rich Hill. Hill's 8-3 with a 2.25 ERA. Correa charges hard and fires.
The big youngster is looking really athletic at shortstop now again. First month of the season, not sure he was fully there defensively, but over the last month he's played very well.
Brandon Drury single to right field in the 3rd inning. Ball not hit particularly well on the ground. Ball 1 in tight. Just 2 singles for Arizona to go with 1 walk. Keuchel has struck out 3, and he has not walked anybody since that 2-out walk to Goldschmidt in the 1st. That comes in for a strike to make it 1-1. Sunday at 1:10, it's Lance McCullers and Kendall Graveman.
Look at these 2 pitches. Trying to catch the inside edge with the first one, misses. This one maybe a bit low, but great spot. And the more you keep putting pitches close like that, the more you get.
2 balls and a strike to Brandon Drury. Keuchel's won his last 3 decisions against Arizona. Fouled away, and he goes to a 2-2 count now with Nick Ahmed on deck.
Not seeing much of the changeup from Dallas.
Foul ball. Gaddis unable to hang on for the strikeout.
Right down at ground level, you're reaching down as a catcher, hoping to come up with this. Just doesn't hit the pocket.
2-2 pitch gets him the strikeout. That's number 4. He's retired 8 in a row, 9 in a row now, and it's no score.
of the 5th, and it's time to reveal the answer to our Chevy Stroh poll. Who's your favorite Astros lefty of all time? And with 49% of the vote, Billy Wagner's the winner. You guys think that has anything to do with the youngsters being in school right now?
Maybe. No score. We go to the bottom of the 5th inning. Evan Gattis grounded out first time up after he worked the count full. Tough pitch, strike one.
Did I just hear that only the old timers would pick Billy Wagner? Is that what I
pretty much
gleaned out of that?
Yeah, that's what you got on that.
Billy Wagner was some kind of something.
Now 1 ball, 1 strike. Valbuena on deck. Gomez due up third here in the 5th inning. The Astros have been held to 1 single through the first 4 by Greinke. Infielders overshifted. Smacks one foul. 1-2. Well, as both managers came to the ballpark today, their bullpens had to be on their minds. After another extra inning game last night, Astros used 6 pitchers, as did the D-backs. Out to center field. Owings. 1 out.
To your point, I think a lot of fans, it's really easy to say, well, why can't you use so-and-so today? He only threw an inning each of the last 2 days. It's tough. And even sometimes when you don't get in a ball game and you get fully heated in the bullpen, it's tough on your arm. And the guys, being somewhat human, require a little bit of rest.
Yes, they do. Now with a shift on, it's Valbuena batting. He struck out in the 2nd inning. Shortstop Ahmed, the only player between 2nd and 3rd. That one comes up and in for ball 1.
You can hear Zach Greinke occasionally grunting on pitches, especially when he's tried to come hard in on the hitters.
Out over the plate for a strike. That makes it 1-1.
Never hurts to grunt on that changeup either. Sells it well.
It's 2-1. Greinke 19-3 last year, 17-8 the year before. Line drive left field. Drury. 2 down.
What is it called? The shaving club? You've got to join up.
Yeah, right. Carlos Gomez struck out in the 3rd inning. Ball 1 to Gomi. Madison Bumgarner hit another home run today. That's 13 in his career. 1 ball, 1 strike.
Who's the all-time king on that? Wes Ferrell?
Yeah, I think so.
Of course, back then they hit all the time. There was no DH, and put up some of the guys put up some really good numbers in terms of home runs.
Ferrell was terrific. 2 balls and a strike. Cubs lead the Dodgers 2-0. They're in the bottom of the 4th at Wrigley. Javier Baez hit his 3rd home run for Chicago.
Hit like
2-2.
Zach Greinke has been so sharp. And when you are really sharp again, you'll get some calls.
He got one there. And he gets strikeout number 7 of the day. Through 5, there's no score.
top of the 6th, and Dallas Keuchel and Zach Greinke are still throwing up zeros, and it's scoreless here. And it's time for Name That Astro, brought to you by your local Honda dealer. Today's former Astro was the 10th overall pick in the Major League Baseball draft, hit a walk-off home run for the Astros in the playoffs, and was traded to Arizona for Chad Qualls and 2 others. I know this one, guys, but I'm going to give the guys a couple innings to figure it out on Twitter, okay?
Sounds good. Dallas Keuchel throws. Nick Ahmed takes. There's strike 1 as inning number 6 gets underway. Ahmed hit a fly ball to center field in the 3rd inning. 2 hits for Arizona, 1 hit for Houston through 5. In for a strike. 0-2. Keuchel has set down 9 straight since a Drury single.
And Dallas Keuchel again much sharper. Look at the edges with baseballs at or near, and that lack of pitches right through the heart of the plate today.
Way upstairs.
I think Evan Gattis got crossed up again right here. Something went awry.
Well, they tried to get a check swing call. Chris Conroy, the umpire at first, indicated that Ahmed did not go. That's 1-2.
It's a fastball. Runs up and in, and the sound is the ball hitting the glove. Question is, did the bat go through?
Now 2 balls, 2 strikes. All natural.
So they hand those out before the game, huh?
Yeah. He got his down at the Crawford Street entrance. Struck him out looking. That's number 5.
Oh, this is different. This is different and better for Dallas Keuchel today. And I love seeing angry hitters walk away from the plate. That means some close pitches are going Dallas's way, and that means he is forcing the issue on the home plate umpire.
Nick Ahmed said the ball was down. Gene Segura is 0 for 2. In for strike 1 on a breaker. Giants beat the Braves 6-0 in Atlanta.
That last pitch for strike 3. Likely under the knees, and it was. But again, the more you keep painting in those areas, the more it leaves an umpire feeling like, I got to give this to him. I mean, he's just hitting it time and time again.
Working with a very quick pace. Keuchel gets a foul fly ball outside the right field line. 1-2 to Segura in that 6-0 win for the Giants. Madison Bumgarner went to 7-2. He worked 7 2/3 innings and struck out 11. Also hit a home run, his 2nd of the year. Joe Panik hit his 6th. Buster Posey his 8th.
By the way, Brownie, I'm sorry, we're getting some complaints that our Name That Astro is way too easy. So
okay.
Brennan, even though you know the answer,
yeah,
make it tough.
Strikeout number 6 for Keuchel.
Okay, this time to the breaking ball. The slider for Dallas. And again, that same area right there under the knees. I could grow accustomed to this the rest of the way.
Michael Bourne grounded back to Keuchel, and another ground ball went to Jose Altuve, his 2nd time up. Showing bunt. He takes a strike. Valbuena's on the grass at 3rd. It's down on a knee, toying with Michael Bourne. Michael's a good bunter, though. 1-1. Aaron Blair, the pitcher who was traded by Arizona to Atlanta in that big offseason deal, was the loser today for the Braves. Strike 2 makes it 1-2 to Bourne. Quite a package for Shelby Miller involving Blair and Dansby Swanson.
Haven't seen the inside corner called a lot for Dallas, but you can understand why this is called. And again, that really nice pattern of pitches.
2 balls, 2 strikes.
And though Dallas has had some good ones this year, including the one in Anaheim, I think when it's all said and done, if he stays where he's at, he's going to say, this was the sharpest I've felt.
Now a full count on Bourne with Goldschmidt on deck. He taps it foul. Pretty good chance Michael Bourne is going to see something to swing at with Goldie on deck.
Contrary to the slogans, this is not about attacking the strike zone. This is about being sharp enough to shave the strike zone.
Ground ball into right field. Bourne gets single number 3 for Arizona, and that brings up Goldschmidt, who's 0 for 1 with a walk.
Three-two pitches. Kind of all goes out the window, and Michael Bourne, who's a good player for a long time, able to rake one into right field.
Goldschmidt, with that walk in the first inning, has reached base now in 21 of his 23 career games against the Astros. Grounded out in the 4th on the first pitch. Fouls that one away for strike 1. Goldschmidt against the Astros since 2011 has an OPS of 1.076. And that is tops against the Astros since 2011. Miguel Cabrera second. Mike Trout and David Ortiz follow. But he makes the all opponent team despite growing up an Astros fan in the Woodlands. 0-2.
Here's the inside corner effort again.
Ricky Weeks on deck. Foul away, and that keeps the count for Goldschmidt at no balls, 2 strikes. He has struck out 57 times this year. Keuchel won 20 and lost 8 last season with the second best ERA in the American League, 2.48. He was 15-0 at home with a 146 during the regular season. Goldie had a pitch to hit there and fouled it. One and two. A game like this might take a longtime baseball fan back to something like a Bob Gibson Don Drysdale matchup.
Sandy Koufax and Juan Marichal.
Yeah. Two balls, 2 strikes.
Of course, the Astros fans have had plenty of those great names go through here. I had the pleasure of catching a number of them. It's really amazing when you get some of those guys who just command the game from the hill.
Ground ball third. Valbuena, long throw. He guns it to Marlon Gonzalez. No runs, 1 hit, 1 left. What a game. No score after 5.5.
For the greater coverage of baseball, brought to you by T-Mobile. Well, look at what's going on around Major League Baseball. News and notes. Mookie Betts has been red hot for the Red Sox. 5 home runs last couple of games. The Cubs have 5 players leading in the vote for the All-Star. Did you hear about Hunter Pence going on the DL? Hammy and Jose Reyes. Kind of forgotten about now, but still rehabbing, trying to get back to the big leagues.
Strike one for Zach Greinke. Marwin Gonzalez stepping up. He grounded back to the pitcher in the 3rd inning. The Astros have 1 hit, a George Springer 4th inning single. 7 strikeouts for Greinke and no walks. Marwin puts one out of play. 0-2.
It was noisier than Mr. Greinke would like, I think.
Yeah. He's done well his last 4 road starts, 3-0 with a 1.93 ERA. Marwin takes, and it's 1-2.
You can see how Zach Greinke pre-grips every pitch with that changeup grip and then adjusts as he starts toward the plate.
That one goes foul, 3rd base way. Greinke in that first game at Colorado we talked about, allowing 3 homers. In 4 innings, he was gone after giving up 9 hits and 7 earned runs in a 10-5 loss. Then he lost his next start to the Cubs at home. So 0-2 at home to start the Arizona portion of his career. Then he started turning things around. Got his first win at San Francisco. Strikeout number 8 comes his way. That ties his season high.
Well, he does it well. The changeup hasn't thrown a whole bunch, but on top of the speed difference, spots it at the knees.
Tony Kemp took strike 3 back in the 3rd inning. Greinke retired the first 9 in order. He gets strike 1. The Diamondbacks swept San Francisco at AT&T Park in April in a 4-game series. A swing and a miss for strike 2, and then San Francisco turned the tables and had a 4-game series sweep in Arizona in May.
Giants start the day with a 4.5-game lead over the Dodgers in the National League West. How much will the injury to Hunter Pence impair their move?
Yeah, we saw a clip of that as he was running to first base, and he pulled up short of that hamstring problem. It did not look good. Greinke's trying for career win number 149 today. He's lost 96. 1-2. A shot into center field. Tony Kemp gets the Astros' 2nd hit of the day.
How do you make something happen out of this? Gets a fastball, and he's able to do something with it. A fastball that starts to try to find some of the wide of the plate. And Greinke not pleased with himself.
Kemp is on. George Springer is at the plate. Springer 1 for 2. A single to center field in the 4th inning. He's been in that leadoff spot for the Astros. Some very good things have happened this year. tied for ball one. This is the 10th straight game Springer has been the leadoff man. And overall, it's the 11th time this year he's hit first in the order. In those games as the leadoff man, he's hit .409, 4 doubles, 4 homers, a .480 on base average, and an OPS of .1253. He went. 1 ball, 1 strike for George. Dave Stewart, the general manager, is a 4-time 20-game winner. And he really wanted to improve the club's pitching by adding this right-hander and Miller. Springer is called for a swing there by Chris Conroy, and it's 1-2 on George.
Did he or didn't he? Yeah, you get out in that range and it should be called.
Jose Altuve's on deck. Kemp does not have a big lead. Springer tried to check, and he went around there too for a strikeout. Number 9.
And again the peak. And again the go. Greinke just keeps you off balance, keeps you searching for pitches close.
He is taking care of that bullpen problem for Arizona.
Dallas doing the same thing for the Astros.
Altuve's 0 for 2. Fly ball to center, and he grounded into a forced play. Ball 1 to Altuve. Jose's a .380 career hitter against the Diamondbacks. Leading in the balloting for All-Star second baseman, and he's leading American League second baseman in several offensive departments. And for a strike to even the count at 1-1.
If you're looking for mistakes, that might have been one of the few you get against Greinke. Kind of a hanging breaking ball.
Altuve last night tied Jeff Bagwell for 4th place on the all-time Astros hit list at Minute Maid Park with 457. Pokes one into right field. Kemp will sprint from first to third on a single by Altuve. That puts him ahead of Bagwell into sole possession of 4th place with 458 Minute Maid Park hits. 8-game hitting streak for Altuve.
Sometimes I think Jose's tougher on really tough pitches. Look where this one winds up. Down and away, just puts it on the end of the bat and finds a hole. So much talk about Altuve and others waiting to find the perfect pitch, but I'll tell you what, a lot of hits from Altuve come on tough pitches.
That was one right on the end of the bat. He doinked it into right field.
Doink's a great sound when you get a knock with it.
Hit number 3 for the Astros. Now will this be their best scoring opportunity? Carlos Correa is 0 for 2 with a strikeout and a pop fly to short. Rasmus on deck. Ball 1. Looking over at Altuve, is just standing on first base. The roller, and the second baseman Segura comes over for it. Quick flip to first, gets him. No runs, 2 hits, 2 left after 6, no score.
We head to the top of the 7th, and it's time once again to name that Astro, brought to you by your local Honda dealer. And here's the clues. This former Astro was the 10th overall pick in the Major League Baseball draft. He had a walk-off home run in the playoffs and was traded to Arizona for Chad Qualls and 2 others. It's Chris Burke, and if I recall, that home run didn't land too far from where Kevin and Mike are sitting up there in the Crawford boxes. Yeah, that was very close to where they are. And he's now doing analyst work on TV for a lot of college baseball. 0-0. We go to the 7th inning. Ricky Weeks the batter. Ball 1. Weeks is 0 for 2. Each club has 3 hits. All the hits in the game have been singles. Liner into center field, another single. Weeks with a leadoff hit will bring up Castillo. Diamondbacks had a leadoff single from Castillo in the 2nd inning, but Keuchel got a double play ball with Lamb batting next.
Well, how do the D-backs now in this pitching matchup play this? They've got Wellington Castillo, a guy who probably is not accustomed to bunting, but I wouldn't be surprised at a bunt attempt.
He takes strike 1. Well, the Astros have played a lot of close games. Of their last 18, 14 have been determined by 2 or 1 run. Rock to center field. Gomez with a long run back. He won't get this one. This is well over his head and off the wall. Weeks will come around third and toward the plate. Correa will not make a throw, and it's 1-0 Arizona on an RBI double by Castillo. Ninth double for Castillo. That's his 21st run batted in.
See the fastball come out of the fingers of Dallas Keuchel. A little more up, and I don't know how close to the outside edge, but hittable for Castillo. And 2 sharply hit balls now to start the 7th.
Gaddis and Keuchel talk it over before facing Lamb. Castillo continues his work against left-handed pitching this year. Lamb is 0 for 2. Double play ball and a strikeout looking. Ooh, the appeal went to third. He checked his swing on the ruling by Sean Barber.
Pretty good looking slider, and I don't find myself surprised seeing that little knock of the head there. The glance that says, boy, I thought that was good.
It's 1-1. Chris Owings on deck. Keuchel beat Detroit here 1-0 back in mid-April. Off the bat, or did it hit him? Lamb took a spill on that up and in pitch. Apparently it hit him on the hand.
Let's not find another knob here.
Well, we thought that was the case last night on a hit batsman.
It's starting to get away on Dallas a bit now. That was nowhere near his intended location. I don't know. Did I get another knob?
We thought maybe Segura, who was ruled to have been hit by a pitch in the 9th inning last night, might have been play acting. That was a very convincing act there.
I think the Richter scale went off on that one.
So Lamb's going to stay in.
Yeah, I think that A.J. Hinch wants to find out where exactly did that ball hit. After last night's episode, got to be wary.
Well, the umpire and crew will take a look at things.
This one's not as clear cut as last night. This is a good angle. That's knob. I'm going to go in the bonus round. I'm going knob back-to-back games.
Well, last night's play in the 9th inning on Segura was not reviewed. Back to 2005 and Chris Burke in the 18th inning for the game winner to end that playoff series with the Braves.
And the voice of Milo Hamilton in the background. Boy, that was, what a series.
There you are, Ash, on the radio broadcast. What a special moment in Astros history.
Absolutely.
Jim Hickey, the pitching coach, Mike Gallo, Gary Gaetti dancing around.
The umpires continue their review. And to me, you can look once, maybe twice, but you're not going to learn anything by reviewing this over and over. Either you take the impression I have that says, hey, that ball hit straight onto the knob, or you somehow manufacture something else.
Well, they're going to stay with the call that he was hit by a pitch.
That can only mean a finger was wrapped around the bottom of the bat and the finger got hit as well. To me, that was clear cut. Are their fingers overlapping? What did that hit? That's just plain knob to me. Yeah, what did that hit? I'll tell you what it hit. It hit the wood of the bat. Yep, it hit the bat. I disagree with that assessment, unless they just say we didn't see enough there to be able to change things.
Now runners at first and second, nobody out. Owings the batter. Owings has grounded to short both times. Balbuena and Gonzalez are in tight at the corners. Castillo, the base runner, at second. Around a bunt he takes, and it's strike one.
Drive a manager crazy time you put on the bunt and a guy takes a strike.
Yeah. That time Correa was breaking to third to cover. Gaddis had given signs to the infielders on the coverage prior to that pitch, trying to stop a sacrifice bunt and get a force play on Castillo at third. Grounded up the middle, and that's going to be a hit. Castillo's being waved home to make it 2-0 on the RBI single by Owings. Four straight have reached here in the Arizona 7th.
See how this location turns out. And again, I would have to say Dallas is not as sharp here in this inning as he's been through 6 innings.
That's why Pat Neshek has been warming up in the bullpen. And it's going to be a move to Neshek here to face Drury. Weak single. Castillo with an RBI double. Lamb hit by the pitch. Owings RBI single. 2-0 Arizona. And that'll do it for Keuchel today after 6 innings, allowing 6 hits, 2 runs so far, keeping his club squarely in this game. 2-0 Arizona. Back in a moment.
7th inning. Playing to Win is brought to you by Toyota Tundra. As we kind of look through the afternoon of Dallas Keuchel, very sharp through 6 innings. Spotted to the edges all the way around and consistently, and able to shut down the Diamondbacks effectively. But the 7th inning eventually came and it got to him. You have to be pleased watching Dallas 6 really sharp innings, and can he continue to advance that now as the bullpen comes on?
Neshek in 22 games, 2-0 with a 3.18 ERA, a 0.94 whip. Runners at first and second, nobody out. There's a strike to Drury. Drury is 1 for 2. And now Chris Davinsky is warming up for Houston. Neshek worked 2/3 of an inning last night. Allowed a hit. Did not give up a run. Had a strikeout. He threw 15 pitches in the game last night. Now it's 1-1. Neshek has done very well on retiring the first batter.
Evan Gattis is clearly crossed up with that fastball.
Yeah.
And I'm guessing that's at least the 2nd time today.
Fly ball softly hit to right center. Gomez now backing on it, getting in position for a throw to third. He makes the catch. He makes the throw in to Correa, who relays it to Altuve. Both runners move up on the fly ball by Drury for out number 1.
That arm of Carlos Gomez in center field is some kind of strong. He brought a clothesline back to the infield. And if that was on line, I thought he might have had a shot at third base. I guess it was offline, but well, he gets some velocity with that stuff.
That'll bring the infield in now. Nick Ahmed, the batter. Ahmed is 0 for 2. 2-0 Arizona here in the 7th with 1 out and runners at second and third. Lamb's the runner at third. That's ball 1 from Neshek. Right-handed hitters are now 3 for 40 against Neshek this year. And he's the best in the American League in that opposing batting average category against right-handers. Foul back. 1-1. Also has done well in stranding inherited runners. He's inherited 14 and only 4 have scored. That's going to be big right here in this 2-0 game with 2-minute scoring position. Ahmed 286 with runners in scoring position. Segura's on deck. Two and 1. Neshek did not work in either of the games in Arizona after working twice in Anaheim. Fly ball out to center. Both runners tag. Gomez back for the catch for out number 2. Firing in toward third as the run scores to make it 3-0. Sac fly by Ahmed. That's his 16th run batted in. Lamb scores. Owens holding at second.
Each run big as you're looking at Zach Greinke pitching the way he does when he's on.
Lamb coming in with run number 3. Now a 3-0 lead for Greinke with Segura, the 7th D-back to bat. He is 0 for 3. Strike 1 for Neshek. Three runs on 6 hits for Arizona now. Fouled, and it's 0-2 with Michael Bourne on deck. This Houston bullpen has had a 1.84 ERA in the last 13 games. Astros led the majors in bullpen ERA for May. Still 0-2. Dallas Keuchel threw 98 pitches, 60 for strikes. Foul by Segura. He stays alive at 0-2 against the 35-year-old Pat Neshek from Madison, Wisconsin. Oh, it's raining again. What else is new? Tough times down in Richmond and Rosenberg. Lots of flooding in those areas southwest of downtown.
Great White Shark is not disappointed.
Struck him out. The Diamondbacks push across 3 runs on 3 hits. They leave a man. They're up 3-0 in the 7th.
Orbit and his MLB mascot friends for Orbit's birthday this Sunday. Orbit and his friends will be available for a pregame photo session in the atrium of Minute Maid Park, and 10,000 fans will receive an Orbit lunch bag presented by Coca-Cola. For more information, visit astros.com/Orbit birthday or call 1-877-9-ASTROS. And Ash, I saw the way you guys ate in Arizona. You might want to pick one of those up for leftovers for your next trip.
That sounds accusatorial to me. Why didn't you come out and join us? We had plenty left over for you.
He had real work to do back here, Ash.
Oh, real work, I see. I gotcha.
Yeah. Ball 1 to Colby Rasmus. Zach Greinke now has a 3-0 lead. Rasmus with 2 strikeouts in his 2 at-bats in this game. You guys were just having fun out there in the desert.
Well, Julia brought us food, and our job was to eat it.
Well, you guys did that job with excellent intent out there.
It has benefits. Folks are having a good time doing the same. See, they've learned from our example.
Yep. Evan Gattis on deck. That one's pulled foul, right field line.
Greinke has worked numerous times in on Colby today, and I bet Colby had it in his mind right there. I'm going to get to one quickly. Just a little too quick. How many times have you done that? Seen a baseball drop at your feet and just couldn't find it?
Only every day, Ash. Still wanted to.
There's a reason folks wind up here.
Or it could be a donut.
Yeah, I think that's more likely.
Only 3 singles allowed by Greinke, who has not walked a soul in this game. Two at 2. Greinke's allowed 9 home runs this season in 77 innings. Segura from the outfield grass, 1 out. It's a good Thursday afternoon at the ballpark.
What rain.
Evan Gattis is grounded out, hit a fly ball to center field. They meet at the mound. Catcher Castillo and the shortstop Ahmed with this shift on Gattis. In for strike 1 for Greinke, bidding for win number 7 of the year. Nobody stirring right now in the Arizona bullpen. 0-2. Greinke had 1 complete game last year for the Dodgers. He has not gone the distance in 11 starts so far this season. In his career, he has finished the game 14 times. Gattis swings at it and strikes out. Castillo with the throw. 10 strikeouts now.
Greinke's had all the pitches. Just was one of those in the dirt that you see so many major league hitters swing at with 2 strikes.
Luis Valbuena has struck out and hit a fly ball to left. Strike 1 to Valbuena with Gomez on deck. In tight to him. 1 ball, 1 strike. Now it's 2-1. Two balls, 2 strikes. A.J. Hinch made his major league managerial debut with the D-backs, as you know.
We've seen the sinker, this time more of a 4-seam type fastball, but all the time just great spotting, great location from Greinke.
He's been on the corners, a little bit off the corners to get some swings and misses today.
That's the game plan. Stay out of the heart of the plate.
Valbuena checked his swing. They appeal, and that's verified by Sean Barber. 3-2. This will be the 100th pitch for Greinke. There's some stirring in the Astros pen, but still Chris Davinsky out there. As if he may be coming in for the 8th. Into right center field. Valbuena finds an opening in that shift. And number 4 for the Astros.
Got a little plate right there. Does Zach Greinke. Valbuena just kind of jogs it out. Game like this, I really want to be digging and seeing if there is a bobble, something that can lead to an extra 90 feet.
Been tough to do anything offensively as far as the Astros are concerned against Greinke. Gomez has struck out both times. That's strike one. The Astros had runners at first and third in the 6th inning with 2 outs. They've left 3 men on base today. No balls, 2 strikes. Alan Gonzalez on deck.
So frustrating when you get a pitch that you know you should be able to handle and all you can do is foul it off.
Gomez is a strikeout victim. That's number 11 for Greinke. And it's no runs, a hit and a man left. We move to the 8th. Chris Davinsky coming in, 3-0 Arizona.
Houston Methodist brings us our league leaders, and we can look around that longest active scoreless innings pitch for pitchers right now. Will Harris, who you might normally see in the 8th inning, but he's a tired puppy right now, needs a little bit of a breather. 23 1/3 consecutive innings. You see the other names on that list. That's some really good pitching, but that's quite a difference between Harris and the next best around the major leagues. He has been spectacular.
Chris Davinsky takes over on the mound. He's 0-2 with a 2.79 ERA in 12 games. 4 as a starter. In relief has a 0.47 ERA. High with a fastball to Michael Bourne. Again, he falls behind 2-0. Pat Neshek in 1 inning allowed no hits, no runs, had no walks, 1 strikeout. Now 3-0 to Bourne. Daniel Hudson warming up for Arizona. Dallas Keuchel in 6 innings allowed 6 hits, 3 runs, 1 walk, 6 strikeouts, a hit batter. 3-1 now to Bourne with Goldschmidt and Weeks to follow in the Arizona 8th. And there is Hudson. Bourne is on with a walk. It's only the 2nd walk of this ball game. Greinke with no walks and 11 strikeouts takes a sip of water there.
You can't make. I'm sorry again, Brownie. You can't make a ratio out of 11 to nothing.
No. Goldschmidt with a walk and 2 groundouts. Runner takes off. Gaddis's throw to Altuve right there for the tag. Whoa!
What?
How could that be safe, Jerry Meals? Well, that looked like the ball, the tag, and the runner on a collision course there. But we got the safe call at second now. Here comes A.J. Hinch.
Let's take our look. Sorry, but you're out there. Easy.
Yeah.
Easy.
Well, they're going to review it, although A.J. lost his challenge on the hit batsman earlier, but still in the late innings of a close game, it's commonly done now. Even though the manager doesn't have any challenges left, he can prevail upon the umpires to do their own review.
Do the right thing, I guess. You know, it's hard to determine is contact made, but it was made, and it's an easy out. I think Michael Bourne has to know he's not long for second base here.
He's not going to give up the bag, of course.
By the way, Brownie, how about Evan Gattis and his throws to second base?
Yes. Well, the fans are now cheering because they've seen the replay up on El Grande, the big replay board, and out is going to be the call. Well, Michael Bourne is not putting a fight. So Gattis guns down another one. He's thrown out 5 of 10 now, trying to steal.
Gattis really doing it well. And also a nice job by Altuve coming toward first base on that play. Gets a little dicey, but able to glove it and make the tag.
You were absolutely right with that. Goldschmidt skies it on the right side of the infield. Altuve over. 2 outs. That replay review took 55 seconds for the umpires. Pretty clear cut. The commissioner was talking a couple of weeks ago or so on a network telecast about the reviews, and the goal is to make them quicker. Ricky Weeks is 1 for 3, and also to improve the speed of games. Average speed of games right about 3 hours right now, compared to around 2:53 for the full season last year.
It's too long. There's no question about that.
In the air on the right side again, Marwin. Marwin comes over this time. I thought Altuve was going to call him off, but he wouldn't. And it's 7 pitches here in the 8th inning for Davinsky. 3-0 Diamondbacks. Root Sports is presented by Southwest Airlines. Transparency, low fares, nothing to hide. And by Toyota. Let's go places. Raining outside. It was raining this morning. Diamondbacks 3, Astros nothing. We go to the bottom of the 8th inning. The Astros hoping it is raining runs soon. Zach Greinke has been lifted from this game after 7 innings, allowing 4 hits, no runs with no walks, 11 strikeouts. in a powerful afternoon. Greinke threw 103 pitches, 74 for strikes. Now it's Daniel Hudson, 1-1 with a 1.25 ERA.
Got a tough act to follow here today, but we saw his stuff yesterday and very good looking stuff. 7 holds along the way. That's his assignment today. The Astros assignment to break into that hold possibility, get some offense going.
Marwin Gonzalez leads it off. He's 0 for 2. Hudson, after 2 Tommy John surgeries, pitching well again. Last year he was 4-3 with a 3.86 ERA in 64 games. Those 2 surgeries were in 2012 and 2013. 11 months apart. And he comes back throwing 96 for strike 1.
I don't know if this catches the plate, but I imagine that did sound pretty good coming up there. Bigger arm now on.
Camp is on deck. Fouled, and it's no balls, 2 strikes. Hudson worked a scoreless inning last night, throwing 15 pitches. Hudson's from Lynchburg, Virginia. Went to Old Dominion University. 5th round pick of the White Sox in 08. That's into the seats. Still 0-2 on Marwin. Hudson's had very good control in his career. One and 2. Camp on deck and Springer to follow here in the Astros 8th inning. Brad Ziegler is the Arizona closer. He worked an inning and 2/3 last night. 2 balls, 2 strikes. Strikeout number 12 for Arizona pitching today.
Just brings some serious noise up. A couple of strikes you try to protect. Tough to get to.
Tony Kemp struck out looking in the 3rd. He singled to center in the 6th inning. It's like a wet commute both morning and afternoon in Houston today. In for strike 1. More rain in the forecast for the next few days to come. Camp looks at strike 2.
Can't watch that one. That's the one you're begging for.
One ball, 2 strikes. Day baseball will continue for the Diamondbacks. They go into Chicago after this game, where they'll play 3 day games over the weekend. They have Archie Bradley ready to go tomorrow against John Lackey. They go back home for a 9-game homestand after those 3. Foul by Kemp. Makes it still 1-2 on Tony. David Peralta's in extended spring training for them right now. And he is supposed to play with their AAA Reno club over the weekend. He's been out since May 15th with right wrist inflammation. Kemp takes, and the count goes to 2-2. The Astros have won 10 of their last 13 meetings with Arizona. Strike 3 call. 13 strikeouts for Arizona pitching.
It's a very impressive fastball. Also a strike zone that size-wise is becoming rather impressive.
George Springer singled in the 4th inning. He's 1 for 3. All 4 of the Houston hits have been singles. Only one Astro has reached third base in this game. George looks at ball 1. Lamb at third. Swings it across, and there's the tag by Goldschmidt on Springer to make it a 1-2-3 8th inning. 3-0 Arizona moving to the 9th.
Nothing. And baseball fans, the 2016 Esurance MLB All-Star Game ballot is here. Head to astros.com/vote to choose who you want to go to the All-Star Game on July 12th in San Diego. Vote today, vote tomorrow, and vote at astros.com/vote. And on a rainy day like this, guys, what's there better to do than stuff the ballot box for Jose Altuve and George Springer?
That works. Yeah, naps can't take all day, right, Ash?
You could do a little voting while you nap, too.
Wellington Castillo steps up, leading off the 9th inning, 3-0 Arizona. Kristevensky throws a strike. He does that often. Castillo is 2 for 3 in this game. He was really the catalyst in that 3-run 7th inning with his RBI double to center field, making it 1-0, scoring Ricky Weekswood's single. 1 ball, 1 strike with Brad Ziegler, the closer, warming up for Arizona. The Astros have Altuve, Correa, and Rasmus due up in the last of the 9th inning. Dubinsky got it in on his hands, got a foul ball back for a 1-2 count.
That's the side of the plate that Chris hits most easily. It's the other side of the plate that I haven't seen a consistent command of. He's got that large fall off on the first base side.
Strike 3 call. Castillo is out, number 1.
Even leaves that curveball back to his right. Does it catch a part of the strike zone? You see everything kind of falling that way anyway in that sequence. When it's all said and done, ideal pitch.
Locked up Castillo. Jake Lamb 0 for 2, hit by a pitch, scored a run in that 3-run Arizona 7th. Dubinsky's pitching for the first time since Friday in Anaheim, and he had a very good outing from the bullpen. 4 1/3 innings, 1 hit, no runs. He gets a weak swing there from Lamb. That takes the count to 1-1.
That's the pitch, the changeup. It was felt that maybe early on he was throwing that pitch too much. Let it be meaningful when you throw it.
Fouled away. 1 ball, 2 strikes. 21,764 the paid attendance at Minute Maid Park on this Thursday. Back to night baseball tomorrow with Oakland here. Doug Fister and Jesse Hahn will get going at 7:10. Soft liner goes foul. Oh, on a carom. One of the orange clad fans down in Keuchel's corner got one. Zach Greinke's been tough today. Hudson had a 1-2-3-8. Dubinsky gets a punch out. That's 2 in a row for him here in the 9th.
He's got some strikeout stuff. A little more refinement of command, and hey, he's a guy that he could swing it either way. Is he a starter on your club, or is he a back end of the bullpen guy?
Well, he could go either way. You're right with him, and that means he's in a good spot right now to be able to go long relief and still be available to be stretched out later. That's bunt, could be a hit, and it is. Bunt single for Owings. He's 2 for 4 tonight now.
Still don't see guys utilize this bunt play as often as they could. That's with the infield straight up.
Yep. Hit number 7. Brandon Drury has one of those, a single. He's 1 for 3. Chasing the changeup. There's strike 1. Wonder if the reason that Owings bunted was that Dubinsky sometimes falls off toward the first base line.
Could play a big part. Opens up the left side near the mound.
Yes. And he bunted it more out toward shortstop than toward the third baseman. Bouncer Dubinsky on over to Marwin Gonzalez. No runs, a hit and a man left. We go to the last of the 9th inning. It's 3-0 Arizona.
Follow Astros baseball live with the MLB.com at-bat app. Stay up to the moment at any moment with Game Day, live game video highlights, StatCast, news, and more. Keep an eye on box scores and highlights even while you're at the game at Minute Maid Park while using the new Wi-Fi here. Download MLB.com at-bat, the #1 app for live baseball on your phone or tablet.
3-0 Arizona leads it. The Astros come up in the bottom of the 9th inning. Altuve, Correa, Rasmus due to bat against Brad Ziegler. He has a club record 37 consecutive saves going. He's 9 for 9 this year, a 3.27 ERA, a whip of 1.55. And pitched, as we said last night, an inning and 2/3. Ziegler threw 17 pitches last night. Jose Altuve first up, 1 for 3 in this game. Up and in, ball 1. Just reviewing some of our questions on Twitter. We had one from much earlier in the game asking about that patch on the Arizona uniform. Joe, that's for Joe Garagiola. 1 ball, 1 strike. He worked for the Arizona club. There it is. That catcher's mask logo.
Impressive guy. He did a lot of things.
Well, he sure did. How many guys do you think would be capable of doing the Saturday baseball game of the week and hosting the Today Show?
Yeah, that hosting the Today Show puts you in a whole different realm, doesn't it?
It really does. Ziegler with the play on Altuve. 1 out. And just a great ambassador for baseball. Now it's Correa. He's 0 for 3. Astros have been held to 4 singles in this game. Greinke, Hudson, and now Ziegler. Really putting things together very well for the D-backs. Correa takes, and there is ball 1 to him. The Astros have been shut out twice this year, the most recent time by Cleveland here, May 10th. Inside. Trevor Bauer went 7 innings in that shutout by the Indians, with Shaw and Allen chipping in an inning apiece on a 4-hitter. Cleveland won it 4-0. In for a strike to Correa. Two 2-1 for Ziegler. 36 years old, from Pratt, Kansas. He was 30 for 32 in saves last year. 3 balls and a strike. That string of 37 straight saves, the longest active in the majors right now, belonging to Ziegler. The shot on the ground, diving play by Ahmed. He couldn't stop it though, and Correa is on to give him a 5-game hitting streak.
Well, there's your good aggressive swing right there. And I actually think Ziegler is a guy that you can get to more comfortably than Hudson, for example, out of this bullpen, to get some good swings and see what comes of it.
Hit number 5 for the Astros. Correa aboard for Rasmus, who's 0 for 3. Gaddis is on deck. That's the goal. Get the potential tying run to the plate here in the 9th.
I hear your drift right there.
Well, it's been a tough day for the hitters. They're strike 1, but they still have a shot here. The 37 straight saves for Ziegler is an Arizona club record. And he has their all-time record for appearances and ERA for 100 games or more. No balls, 2 strikes. Also, his 1.85 ERA last year is their club record as well. This infield shift is on, and Ziegler has 104 double plays on ground balls since 2008. it foul. It's a bat speed on that pitch down and in.
He is quick down and in. That ability to keep that pitch fair is a rare one.
One and two. Going back to when Lamb was hit by a pitch, we had a question on Twitter. Why was he shaking his upper hand if the pitch hit him?
It's a fair question, isn't it?
Yeah.
I'd have to go back and watch the replay of that to verify. But yeah, that would be tough to explain.
Ground ball, and that one is smothered. Here's the play at second. Segura on to the shortstop, Ahmed, for a spectacular out number 2.
Well, that was well done. Thought Colby had that base hit we were looking for, and then try to bring Evan to the plate with a chance to tie it. Kind of rotation is going to get that sinking action. Bet you Colby would tell you that's a pitch he thought he was going to drive.
Evan Gattis is 0 for 3. Quite a play by Segura, laying out to his left. Now the right side of the infield is open for Gattis. Goldschmidt will move over towards second base. That's strike 1 in tight.
Sinking action is going to just keep running it in that direction. Well spotted.
Oh, and 2. No play on Rasmus as he runs to second base on ball 1. So he's not credited with a stolen base. Fielder's indifference. Foul tip strikeout will do it, and Arizona wins this one 3-0. Snapping the Astros' 5-game winning streak. Ziegler gets his 38th consecutive save. He's 10 for 10 this season. Greinke, the winner, goes to 7-3. Hudson helps out in the shutout effort, taking 2 hours and 36 minutes. Arizona salvages the final game of these 4 consecutive between the two. Diamondbacks 3, Astros 0.